Hi, today I'm going to meet Kerry McCormack, Deputy Chief in the Cleveland City Council in this very special place. So let's find out. Kopi Sunyi atau Sunyi Kopi nih. Hi Mario, I'm Ali.
Hello Ali.
So good to see you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome here in Sunyi Coffee.
Yes, thank you so much. So what makes it different, this Sunyi Coffee, from our regular coffee shop, Mario?
Okay, what makes it different here? In here, we employ people with disabilities. We want to give them chance. We want for them to be equal with us. I want to educate people that actually people with disabilities can actually work and they can give the same output. You're amazing.
I think this is a very interesting place that a US politician decided to come here and see for himself how it's going here. So how do people welcome or react to this new concept?
I gotta be honest, because at first I am afraid that people will be skeptical, but actually people do have hearts. So when they come here, they're happy, they support this concept, and they want to learn about sign languages. They love to order with sign languages. Even my barista become friends with the customers. So, well, actually we all do have hearts.
Yes, very interesting. So do you receive a lot of official visits like this to your coffee shop, Kopi Sunyi?
Yeah, I'm thankful for them because they are so supportive of our concept, and what they are doing is helping us to be better.
Yes, can you teach me how to order in Sunyi Kopi?
Yes, okay, so to make it more empathy,
yes,
you have to learn straight from the barista. Okay?
Yeah,
so,
okay, I will do it.
Yeah.
Halo.
Mau pesan apa katanya?
Saya
Ya, mau pesan. Tunjuk aja.
Long black ice.
Dingin atau panas? Dingin. Satu. Okay, so it's not that hard, right?
Oh yes, it's not that hard. Minum di sini.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you do understand.
Yes.
You can see the gesture, right?
Yes, yes. I can communicate easily. Yes. Okay. Sudah. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. So I will go upstairs to interview Kerry McCormack. Upstairs. Follow me.
Cleveland is a city located in Cuyahoga County of Ohio. It is also the county seat of Cuyahoga County. With a 2023 population of 365,367, it is the second largest city in Ohio and the 53rd largest city in the United States. Cleveland is a diverse city with a lot of personality and culture. Cleveland's story is one of industry, innovation, and resilience that is characterized by risk-taking, artistry, and grit. Cleveland is home to many amazing museums. The list includes the Museum of Art, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Museum of History, and many more.
Kerry McCormack, Deputy Chief in the Cleveland City Council, is in Jakarta visiting Indonesia. We would like to have a discussion on issues that matter for him, as well as for what is his impressions during his visit to Indonesia. Hi Kerry, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, our pleasure. So please, can you tell us more about your role as Deputy Chief in the Cleveland City Council?
Absolutely. First, let me say that I'm so excited to be here in Jakarta, Indonesia. It's been an incredible country with really welcoming people and culture. So it's been an honor to be here. So I am the number 2 on Cleveland City Council. We oversee a $1.8 billion budget for the city of Cleveland. So we do everything from budgeting and policy making and oversight of the Cleveland municipal government.
So can you tell us the dynamics of Cleveland and its people?
Absolutely. So Cleveland used to be the 5th largest city in the United States of America. It's a very diverse city, so we have people from all around the world. It historically was a large manufacturing city, And over the years, it lost manufacturing jobs and population. So what we're seeing now is there is a rebirth of the city, and a lot of that is fueled by health tech and manufacturing. So we have one of the best hospitals in the world, the Cleveland Clinic, and we're seeing technology companies and medical companies roll off of the Cleveland Clinic, as well as a lot of small entrepreneurs growing within the city. So we went from a city that was losing jobs to is starting to regrow.
So this is before the pandemic or after the pandemic? Has pandemic has anything to do with the transformation?
Yeah, before the pandemic, but I think the pandemic has really made us work smarter and harder, quite frankly, as a city. Really figuring out, now that we're in a world where people have the ability to work anywhere or to go anywhere, really focusing on our core assets as a city.
Yes. Can you please explain how your educational background has shaped you into a politician you are now, and what issues that you find are the main focus for you right now?
Yes, absolutely. So I got an international business degree at Miami University of Ohio. And following that, I packed 2 suitcases and moved to Madrid, Spain. My mother was very nervous, but I moved to Spain and lived there for 2 years. So when I came home, I came back to my city and I wanted to see change, but I was able to look at it from a global perspective because I had traveled to many places and had lived in Spain. So that really influenced the way I saw my city. Because instead of just seeing the city as someone who has never left, I was able to see the values in my city that I was not able to see before. So that really influenced my international degree, my international experience, influenced the way I see my city today.
So what do you hope to contribute for your city?
Yes. My biggest goal is I know that my city has incredible potential. It has assets like the Cleveland Museum of Art, the Cleveland Clinic. We are on the lake, on a river. We have wonderful parks, culture, arts, food. But for far too long, we have not tapped in to the potential that we have as a city. So I want to see us leverage our potential, whether it's the arts or our young entrepreneurs or our lakefront, to really maximize our potential, grow our population, help people that are in poverty rise out of poverty, create new jobs across the city of Cleveland. And also, one of the major focuses is to internationalize our city to make sure we are welcoming people from around the world. Cleveland has a long history of immigrants that have come to the city, and I want to make sure that we are continuing to do that.
So how the council, the city council and the mayor's office work together to achieve those goals that you mentioned?
Absolutely. So directly at the city, we can make sure that the city government is welcoming to all people. We've instituted translation and language access across our city. So if you come to the water department or the police station, we have an ability to translate any language. We are also working with our Department of Community Relations as well as NGO partners. One is called Global Cleveland, to make sure that we are putting out the message and building a city that is welcoming. So language access, helping newcomers to Cleveland, immigrants, find jobs, find housing, to build their life in Cleveland. We want to send the message that you are welcome in our city.
We will still be discussing interesting issues with Kerry McCormack, so stay tuned with us on TVR iWorld. Welcome back to our special interview with Kerry McCormack. So you have explained how you want the city to be more inclusive based on your experience in your city. What can you share to us? How can city be developed into more inclusive for all?
Absolutely. So one of the major components we're prioritizing as a city is ensuring that our public spaces are accessible. So we ensure that we follow what's called the American with Disabilities Act. So that includes things like sign language, technology for people that have difficulty hearing, our infrastructure to ensuring that if you are in a wheelchair, you can access the bus, streets, things like this. Let me give you a few examples. What we're doing now is ensuring that all of our infrastructure is compatible with people that have disabilities. So ramps, infrastructure for people that are blind. Our buses now too lower. So if you are in a wheelchair, the bus will actually lower to the sidewalk to allow you to seamlessly enter the bus. So there are many initiatives like this, but it's critically important to us that we are a welcoming city to everyone. Whether you are an immigrant, whether you are disabled, anything like that, that you know that Cleveland is a place that you can live successfully in.
So the facilities and infrastructures, they don't have to be exclusively for the disability, but can be accessed by everyone.
Yes.
Universal one.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And all of those types of infrastructure help you and I too, because it's nice to have that type of infrastructure for everyone. So when you build infrastructure for people with disabilities, you build better infrastructure for everyone.
So you've been traveling to different cities, different countries. So how is the reality when we talk about this disability inclusive infrastructures around the world?
Mm-hmm. Look, we all have more work to do. There's no doubt about it. In really thinking about how do we empower folks in our community to have their own agency. You know, right now we're sitting in Sunni Coffee here right outside of Jakarta, and they're an incredible model of how to empower people with disabilities to ensure that they can make a living and really thrive in the community. So whether it is infrastructure or whether it is changing our perspective on how we view people with disabilities, you know, far too often we only see the disability instead of seeing the entire person. And folks with disabilities have so much to offer our society. So not only do we need to make sure the sidewalks are good and the buses are good, but also that we look at the people in our community that have so much to offer, and we have to look beyond the disability.
It's good that you say it, that we have here in Sunni Coffee, right?
Yes, Sunni Coffee is a leader. I mean, an incredible example of exactly what we all should be doing. Not only are we saying, you know, we want to support folks with disabilities, it's not pity. It is we often find that folks with disabilities are the best employees that we can have. So Sunni is an incredible model, and I'm so privileged to be able to visit here today and to learn from the good work they're doing.
So have we listened enough to their voices, to the people with disability?
I think collectively around the world, no. We have not listened enough to people with disabilities. But I think that question is perfect, because instead of us thinking we know, we should spend more time really focusing on what people with disabilities need and want. Because if we listen more, if we take feedback more from folks with disabilities, the world will be a better place. We often say in the United States that if you design the world for children and for senior citizens, everyone will have a better world. We design the world for 8 years old and 80 years old. And if you do that, everyone will benefit. And I think that principle is the same thing for people with disabilities. People with disabilities are underestimated around the world, and they have some of the most talent out of all of us.
Very interesting that you have pointed that out. So in the past, when people around the world build their infrastructures, they don't really think about the children or the senior citizens or people with disability. We would like to change things like, do we need a lot of investment?
Yeah.
Is it feasible?
Absolutely. So here's what I'll tell you.
Yes.
First, what we realize in the United States is it does not all happen at once, right? So we focus on impacting design. So as the city rebuilds a road, ensuring that the design of that road is accessible. So of course, no country has the means to fix every road immediately. But that's why we take a look at making sure that the design standards are in place so that eventually over time we achieve that goal. But the other part of it too is sometimes we only think about the cost, but we don't think about the cost of doing nothing. And you know, when you think about the benefits to bringing more accessible infrastructure to our city and to our countries, it means benefits for the economy, benefits for small businesses, benefits for everyone. So, you know, creating more accessible communities really not only provide a moral benefit, but also can provide economic benefit. If your employee who might have a disability has an easier job getting to their work, that's a benefit to the economy. If there's better mobility, where more people can move around a city in a more accessible way, that's a benefit to your city. So not everything has to happen at once, but we also have to remember the cost of inaction.
Yeah, it's a gradual process. I
Yes.
agree with you. So in the United States, as you mentioned, you have American Disability Act.
Yes.
I think in Indonesia we also have the regulation, but sometimes in reality it's just hard to enact the law. How is it in the United States? Maybe you can share some of the experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's remember that in the United States, it was not always easy. I mean, for many decades, people advocated for the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it also evolves over time. So we learn more about what the needs are for people with disabilities. We have to work together. I always say that passing a law is only the first step, and it's almost the easy step, because the next part is the hard part, and that is the implementation. So that is the difficult work, and there's no shortcuts. It takes really hard work, it takes partnerships, it takes committing money, and it takes education to explain to the community why these things are important.
So does it hard? I mean, how can we get everyone, every stakeholder to take their part?
Yeah, I think it's educating on benefits, you know, and that's the big part. It's not saying, oh, you're bad or you should do this. It's saying, let me tell you why this will help you and help the community. And through education, through working with people, most importantly, through listening to people, we can convince people and get them to buy into this type of infrastructure. It takes hard work.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need incentives or disincentives when it comes to accelerating this process?
Yes. So one of the things we discussed earlier, in the United States, a business can get tax benefits for hiring people with disabilities. So it's the right thing to do. Those workers are going to be very dedicated, but they've also set up a system where they incentivize a company to hire people with disabilities. So I do think that incentives are important for this work.
Okay. Don't go anywhere. We'll still be continuing this interview with KERRY McCORMACK. So stay with us on TBRI World. So we're still talking with KERRY McCORMACK, Deputy Chief in the Cleveland City Council, who visits Indonesia. So I was told this is not your first visit to Indonesia.
Right.
You were here in 2019.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what is the purpose of this trip, this
Yes,
visit?
absolutely. Well, first of all, let me tell you, I'm thrilled to be back. I love Indonesia. I love Jakarta. The Indonesian people are so wonderful, welcoming, and you've also got great food, which is a benefit, but really excited to be back. So I'm here as a part of an exchange. My initial trip was with the American Council of Young Political Leaders, and this one is with the Young Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative. I think I've got this right.
Yes.
But it's a reciprocal exchange where people from Southeast Asia, young rising professionals, come to the United States, and then young professionals, rising professionals from the United States come to Southeast Asia. So I had the honor of being here in 2019, and today I'm here as a reciprocal exchange with Indonesia to continue the work.
So you came here like before the pandemic and after.
Yes, yes.
So what did you find most interesting from your visit and all the destinations during this 2023 visit?
Yes. Well, wow, Jakarta is growing. I will tell you this. From when I was here in 2019 till today, the country is growing significantly. I've noticed this. Most interesting, we were in, is it Bogor?
Bogor, yes.
Yep. And we visited an urban farm where mothers from the community were helping to raise produce for the community, and they were doing it in a very sustainable way. This was fascinating to me because it really helps with not only providing food for the community, but also in a sustainable way, educating people and creating renewable food sources. So I really enjoyed seeing that. But we have been all over the place throughout Indonesia, just really enjoying my time here, seeing different, companies, NGOs, community members. And today, I have to tell you, this I think is my favorite stop so far here at SUNY Coffee. So this one wins.
Great that you enjoy your visit to
Absolutely.
Indonesia. Are there any inspirations or key takeaways that you can bring to the United States when you go back, and then maybe it will make you put some initiative for your city?
Absolutely. So let me say this, is that I really, whether it was the urban farm or here at SUNY, or we were also at Acharaki with the what is the drink again? Jamu?
Jamu,
yes,
herbal drinks.
Yes, and we had the sambiloto, which was really strong.
Wow,
so
yeah.
we were brave and we drank some sambiloto. But the resiliency and of the young people in Indonesia, starting businesses that are taking from the past and bringing it forward was really, really inspiring. And to see also how Indonesia and Jakarta is really investing in public transportation is really good to see. And really thinking about the new MRT and the different ways that we're getting people around. Traffic can be tough here.
Very
tough. So it's really inspiring to see how Indonesia is really leaning into the future. I mean, you have these major worldwide events coming here. You are updating your transportation. You are focusing on small entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. I mean, Indonesia, to me, is a rising star. I mean, obviously, it's one of the largest, most important countries in the world, but there's so much more that you're doing. So it's really inspiring to see from big projects like the MRT to a small urban farm where women from a village are maintaining the farm. There's this energy in Indonesia to support each other, to build community, and it's really exciting to see.
Yes, so Indonesia hosted the G20, and
Yes.
we are also holding the chairmanship of the ASEAN
Yes.
Summit this year. So it's great that you love the changing face of our capital city, Jakarta.
Yes.
So I would like to know, I would like to dig more about the issue we've been talking before. What do you think about the infrastructure in Indonesia, aside that we have MRT right now, in terms of the accessibility for the people with disability? Maybe you have noticed when you go around the town and other cities.
What I will tell you is I've seen significant improvement for sure. So now what I see when I walk around Jakarta, there are facilities for the blind now. I can see that there's a big initiative to enhance the pedestrian experience. I see bike lanes now in Indonesia. So you can see that there's significant progress getting towards a place that is more accessible. But the other thing too is we all have a responsibility to our environment, to the earth. And it's incumbent upon all of us, very much including the United States, to be thinking about how do we live more sustainably. And it's exciting to see Indonesia invest in pedestrian infrastructure, invest in bike lanes, invest in public transportation. That's my big takeaway. I see significant progress in what's going on here.
And Indonesia, I think, is also very aggressive too to its commitment to reduce the carbon emission,
yes,
as well as to its transformation or shifting to
yes,
the electric vehicles. What's your take on that? Indonesia as developing a country is taking a brave move with its commitment.
I think it's wonderful and it's necessary. And the United States needs to do a whole lot more as well. This is something that we don't have a choice. We all live in the same world. We are all connected. We all have to do our part in advancing the fight against climate change. So it is very heartening to see Indonesia, and it makes sense. You are a country of beautiful greenery, beautiful islands, right? And really the pinnacle of the natural world here in Indonesia. So to me it makes sense. It's in your DNA. It's in your blood to love your environment and to support it. So it makes sense to me that that's a top priority here in Indonesia. I'm advocating back in the United States to make it a higher priority for us. We're making a lot of great progress, but it's great to see that as Indonesia is building itself out, it's doing it so in a sustainable way. And we have to do the same thing in the United States, because Mother Nature does not care about borders.
Yes.
She does not care about countries. She treats us all equally, right? So indeed, we have to work together globally to address climate change, and it's great to see that as a top priority here.
Yes, hand in hand. Thank you
No
so
doubt.
much, KERRY McCORMACK, for your time. Please visit Indonesia again, just for fun, not for work.
Look, Cleveland, Ohio loves Indonesia, and thank you so much for having me. Indonesia has a special place in my heart.
Yes, our pleasure. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.